So good evening. Yeah, so as usual, we're going to start with the fundamental analysis, right? We'll look at fundamental analysis for the coming week and what you should be expecting for fundamentals because that is what is going to guide you um, as well. You can't be trading without having an understanding of what the fundamentals are saying, right? As I always say, the pairs we are trading, the currencies we are trading belongs to countries, and you need to understand what the economy of those countries are, how the economy is faring, right? So we'll start firstly with looking at our calendar, right, to see what we're expecting for the coming week, right? So this is Forex Factory. So let's just take a look, a brief recap of last week, what we had for fundamentals. Okay, it's October, rather. Okay, good. This is October 4th. That was NFP. Okay, this was the NFP week, and let's look at this week. Yeah. So this was CPI week, right? So if you did watch the weekly breakdown of last week, I did explain how this NFP was going to affect the market, right? And I told you gold was going to, for those who were trading the US dollar, I told you if you're trading the US dollar or you're trading anything related to gold, you you could see that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, gold was actually selling because the dollar was strong, and this was because of the NFP effect that happened on Friday. So you can go back and watch that video again. And I told you from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you should see gold buying. And that is what happened. We saw gold buying. Right now, let's look at, and I did take my time to explain how each of these factors actually affect those currencies, right? So now, last week we had FOMC release, right? And also have we had CPI, right? Which is another key measure of inflation, right? So CPI is used to gauge inflation as well, right? Given the Federal Reserve how inflation is doing, should they be more hawkish or should they be more dovish at a particular point in time based on how inflation is going, at their targets of 2% inflation, right? So we can see that our core PPI, our core CPI, right, which came out, this core PPI, we are looking at this excluding food and energy sector, and the CPI itself includes everything, right? So you can see that it came out higher than forecast, right? Means you can see that inflation actually the numbers were higher, right? You can also see they were expecting inflation to drop by 0.1%. It came out at what 0.2%, right? And also CPI of the year expecting to drop to 2.3, it came out 2.4, right? Yeah, we can see overall that the inflation is beginning to weaken, but the figures are still for month-on-month basis, you can see that they are still relatively higher than the forecast what analysts are expecting, right? So, and now you will notice that why is it that inflation, when it comes out, let's say CPI, it comes out less, it comes out high, it is still good for the currency. This is because this is directly related to interest rate, right? So once they start seeing inflation actually going up, once they start seeing CPI going up, these figures going up, this is telling you that the central banks are going to do what? Increase interest rates, right? If they're increasing interest rates, this is directly correlated with what? Any currency. This means that the yields, right? The 10-year yields or the bond yields, interest rates are going to go up. Therefore, more money is going to be flowing into these 10-year yields, right? This is just government bonds, right? Government bond yields, right? That is why you see it going up actually when interest rates, we are seeing a positive outlook on interest rates to increase or and so on. And this has a positive correlation with the US dollar, right? So if the yields are increasing, you expect the US dollar to also increase, right? This is a bit some advanced knowledge you can take time to read later, right? But just chipping in. And we also saw unemployment claims came out what? Higher than expected, right? Which is not a good indicator. So if you're trading CPI last week Thursday, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that we didn't have any huge movement in the market because the data was actually mixed. You had unemployment coming out lower and you had CPI coming out higher, right? This actually made the market not to even move that much. And on Friday, we had PPI, right, which is another kind of a measure of inflation, which is purchasing price index, right? You can always click here to read about the data, which is the one is excluding the food and energy sector. When it comes to the core, anything core, you're removing the food and energy sector. And when you have the normal PPI, you include everything. You can also see that the data came out. You had for the core PPI, you had come out at zero point 0.2, which was what was expected. We had the PPI itself come out at what 0.0%, kind of thing that it is actually dropping. So this was what came out last week, and now you adding this to the current market, how you should view this in terms of what is the strength of the dollar. So right now we can see that overall the data from NFP to Thursday, we can see that what the dollar is looking strong, right? The dollar is looking strong, and I'll be carrying that same sentiment into next week. But yeah, let's look at the following week what we have now. So on Monday, we have this is not a high impact news, OMC speaker. We have to pay attention to it. Tuesday, we are going to be having a pound news. So we have to Tuesday 7 a.m. We'll be looking at pound. We'll be releasing the Cayman change, which is just a measure, their own measure of unemployment, right? Um, they are seeing it to be less than expected. And if this figure comes out less than expected, then we are seeing a good bounce. So if you're trading things like GBP USD, GBP CAD, you have to pay attention at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Looking at the data, the expectation we are seeing is that it's going to be less than expected. If this thing comes out less than expected, then if you're looking at the positive pound, right? So things like GBP USD should be buying. Please, you are writing on the screen, kind of stop, right? You're looking at on Tuesday, I'll be touching just the fundamental of which I actually trade, the pairs I trade. Tuesday, that same Tuesday, we have Canadian dollar, CPI going to be released. I'm looking for anything related to the dollar. So now we're going to be having retail sales on Thursday, right? Retail sales. Retail sales is another key fundamental indicator you have to pay attention to, right? If you're actually trading anything related to US dollar, right? Or you're trading things like US oil, trading things like Nasdaq and US 30, right? So retail sales are going to release on the core retail sales as well. You see that you always have the core and you have um the normal retail sales, right? So this one exclude what automobiles. So you're looking at the change in the total value of sales at the retail level, right? Like retail people who go to buy at ShopRite, Walmart, all those things like that, right? So you're looking at the value of the sales for that particular month. And if the sales figures are actually high, it's telling you that what they because people have money, people are spending more, the economy is booming, right? Which is a good fact, which is a good indicator for that particular country. And you also have unemployment claims, right? So let's look at what we are for retail sales. We are seeing it to be they are expecting to have a 0.1%, which is constant, and they are seeing to have a 0.2% increase for the forecast, right? 0.3% for the and unemployment we are seeing it to drop to 241K, right? So this is going to be a good for this how I look at fundamentals. Once I have the three of them sinking, that is, we're looking at the same direction. So if retail sales comes out 0.3%, which is comes out higher than expected, which is higher than the forecast, and this also comes out higher than the forecast, and this comes out as you're predicting less than the forecast, and then we should be expecting what the positive dollar, right? So this would mean we'll be expecting what the positive dollar. So if this comes out as we expected this week, then we should be seeing things like the US dollar to be strong, which is what I was really looking at. US dollar to be strong, then we should be shorting things like the pound, GBP USD, Euro USD, and buying things like USD CAD, USDJPY, come Thursday, so on, right? So that is what I'm seeing for the US dollar, right, for the fundamentals. Overall, our fundamentals are actually showing very good for the US dollar from Friday till now. So if the US dollar is looking more positive, right, that is looking strong, we have to see how we can back that with our technicals. Are the technicals also looking the same, right? And then you combine those two together and you make a right decision to either buy or sell any particular instrument you're looking at. But now we are leaving the fact that we are seeing the dollar strong and the forecast we're having that it's strong, right? So now let's go into the chart itself, look at the technical analysis. So looking at the technical analysis, this was, I don't know who wrote on the screen like this. Yes, where's that? Okay, good. Right. So this was a 10-year bond yield, right? You can take a look at this after. I just use it to understand the strength of the dollar as well. So we'll look at the XY first, right? So let's look at the XY. So looking at the XY from the daily time frame, as I said, I've already done some data analysis on them already, right? So looking at the XY from a daily time frame perspective, so what you can see on the dollar is we were bearish at some point, right? We were bearish at this point here, where when I mean by bearish, you can see that we are having series of what lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Now we can see that we've had a change of character. That means we've had price change from a bearish move toward a bullish move right now, right? So this is our daily time frame, and this is what I saw last week, and I did explain that if price break above this zone, then I should be expecting what the dollar to start buying means we've now moved to the upside, right? So looking at the dollar index right now, you can see clearly that what this was the last high we just took from this bullish move. So this is where we had what a change of character to the upside. Now I'm bullish on the US dollar, right? You can see that dollar is now moving to the upside. So that was on the daily time frame. So looking at the 4-hour time frame for intraday move, so a, a little bit of a disclaimer I always give. The fact that I look at the US dollar index does not mean if I say I'm bullish on the US dollar, means I'm just going to be shorting GBP at any point. I do the analysis independently on both pairs, right? So you have to try to do the same thing. Do the analysis independently and then try to look at the correlation together. To not do just, let's for example, USD the dollar index and you just go at the same time to just sell GBP and GBP USD. No, try to do GBP USD on its own. Now looking at the X1 and the 4-hour time frame, you can see clearly that what breakout of here there was a change of character here means price has shifted from what a bearish move to now what a bullish scenario, right? So you can see we're now creating higher highs and higher lows, right? So this was the last low we just created here. Let me zoom again. So what I'm seeing now, we are faced with a little bit of a range. So what I'm expecting on the XY is now we just had a breakout and a retest, right? So there is based on the fundamentals I'm seeing, the dollar being strong, right? I want to see price actually will take out this move to this particular high. This is the target I'm looking for the XY right now, right? Price will continue moving to this particular resistance we are seeing currently at my screen right here, right? So 130.400, right? So 130.500. So I'm expecting price to pull up to this particular point. This is the next zone I'm actually seeing. So what I always do is I want to understand where price is coming from and where price is heading to, right? So that's why I always mark out my zone. So I can see price coming from this low, and the next high I'm actually seeing is this particular one. But I will pay attention to this resistance I'm actually seeing it, right? So my expectation is to see price push all the way to the zone. And we could possibly have something like this before price goes there. So it pull back to the zone, then what price moves back upward, right? That could be Monday, Tuesday, for the date on Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday, we will have the scenario of price pushing to the upside. But yeah, I'm bullish on the dollar from what I'm seeing on these. Now, I will now have this in mind before I move now to pairs like GBP USD, Euro USD, and so on and so forth, right? But I don't trade those pairs, so I'll just look at the pairs I trade. So from my chart, I'll be looking at the EURAUD, I'll be looking at GBPCAD, USDJPY, and NZD right? So, and I will touch GBP USD as well, right? So we start with any US dollar cross pair. So we'll look at USDJPY. Good. So this is USDJPY. So starting from the daily time frame as well, you can also see clearly that from our daily time frame, right? We were also bearish on the US dollar, the USDJPY, and just similar to what we had on the dollar index, right? And see clear that we had the change of character at this point. Price was moving, creating these lows, and we change now from here to a bullish move, right, to the upside. So now moving to my 4 hour time frame, what am I expecting? I'm just giving the key things you need to take out from here, right? So looking at this right now, price just reached at a key wall resistance point, right? A key resistance point, and what it just created this new low. So on our 4 hour time frame, you want to be able to identify your most recent high, your most recent low. Looking at this, you know, in terms of market structure, we have a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. This is a new higher high. This is a higher low. This is not yet a higher low, right? Because price has not actually taken out this particular high. So now we are looking at this as our higher low, right? And this is one higher high at the top here, right? Right. So we can see this as a potential or higher low price is still trying to form. So for this to be confirmed, I want to see price taking out this high, then you could give me a retest, and then I'm looking for buys, right? So what you can see is that the same thing, I'm waiting for price to actually break out of this particular zone, right, to continue the bullish move. And I'll be targeting this 152.00 psychological level. So this is my view on USDJPY, given the fact that I'm also bullish on the dollar index, right? So this is what I'm expecting on the USDJPY. I'm expecting a reversal. You can see we've moved all the way from this bullish move, and price is now what, that price is not trading back to the upside. And I will keep it this way from the 4 hours. And if there's any change, I'm just going to drop it on the Telegram. I don't see any move to enter at this point because price is just from a resistance and it's still trying to move. So yeah, I've actually called price still moving in this particular range. So until I get a clean breakout of this zone, then I can take a trade. So this is my view on the dollar, the USDJPY. So I'll move to NZD which is the next pair I'll be looking at. Good. Right. So NZD is already printing downward, right? So I already analyzed this yesterday with one of my students. It was not yesterday, until Friday, and price already started making the move. So you can see the trade is already running as a swing trade, right? So let me just delete this and explain it again. Good. Right. So we can see NZD, we are moving in a nice bearish move to the downside, right? So all the way here, you can see that we are very, very bearish, right? Now, from the daily time frame, we can see clearly that we just had a breakout here, right? And world prices retracing back to tap into this zone where we break out. So I mostly trade breakouts, right? So this is a breakout, and I'm waiting for what, a retest. Each time I have a breakout, I expect a retest, especially when the market is trending, something like this, right? And I'm always expecting my retrace when I see a good supply zone forming. So this is a good supply zone, also at a resistance zone, right? And it's a very good setup to look out for, right? So we've had price created this move, right? Bearish move, then breakout of a support zone, and we're expecting price to pull back there, right? Now, looking at the 4 hours time frame, I will use my Fibonacci, right? So if I take my Fibonacci, I place it at this zone, at the high, and I place it at the low, right? You will see that price has already tapped into my premium zones, right? This is a zone I always use. So 71.9 Fibonacci zone, right? That is a zone I use, especially on gold, right? So price has already tapped into this zone, and that is where should have been taking my sales. That's why I see the sell was already placed, right? So price tap into this zone, I'm expecting price will pull back all the way to the downside, right? That is why I said I'm already bearish on NZD for a short position, which started already here, and the stop just above um the highs there, and the target should be, first target is here, and the second target should be at the lows I'm seeing down here. Right. So this is my view on NZD, and I should definitely be having a similar view to have a similar view on GBP Euro USD as well, right? So I'm targeting this. This is the most reasonable lows to actually target, right? So if you see clearly, you can see that we have a clear range for price to move here, right? So we have a clear range for price to move here. That's why I'll prefer to target this gap to actually be filled, right? So yeah, this is my view on NZD, and yeah, I would be expecting if there's any change as market opens, I will still see how price is going to react at this zone, right? It's a good zone. I'll see how price is going to react. If you are not that confident in trading in this particular zone, then you wait for price to come back and trade below this particular point. Wait for price to trade below 0.60803. Price start trading below this zone, then you should be confident to go in for a short position, right? Below this particular zone in NZD USD. So look after NZD USD, the next pair I want to look at is EURAUD. Um, so this is this EUROJPY, Euro Australian dollar. So this is the Euro Australian dollar as well, right? So I'm also looking at going for a short on Euro Australian dollar. So yeah, this is a Euro Australian dollar. So looking at the Euro Australian dollar from a daily time frame, right? I will start from here. Looking at it from a daily time frame, what am I seeing, right? From a daily time frame, you can see clearly that price is trending downward, right? So price has moved, created lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So if you are looking at your daily time frame structure, which is very important, you want to see the structure on the daily time frame. You can see clearly that on our daily time frame, this is our most recent lower high, and this is our most recent lower low. So anything that's happening here is just a pullback into this zone, similar to what I'm having on NZD USD, right? It's just a pullback into this zone, right? So this is just what a reversal. This is just what a reversal, right? So that is, you can see price has start back into this zone, and now price is what trending to the downside. And this is kind of like an A plus setup for me, because what I'm seeing, you can see clearly that this trade is, where is it heading to? It is heading clearly to this particular low here, right? This is just to continue toward the bearish move that we already saw here, right? So that, having that on the higher time frame, on a 4-hour time frame, where you start looking for intraday setups, that's why you need to have an overview of what the, the higher time frame is telling you. Now, if you look at the 4-hour time frame, so looking at that 4-hour time frame, we can see clearly that price is now creating what? Lower lows to the downside again, right? After all this move to the upside, we've changed structure now to a bearish structure. Now we just had a breakout of this good zone, and I'm expecting price to do a pullback again, right? So after this pullback, then to this particular zone, I'll be looking at the next possible supply zone to get my entry, and at the premium zone as well to sell at the premium price level, right? That's why you see I've marked out, I just placed my Fibonacci, the low and the high, and the lower high and the lower low. And I wait for price to tap into between 60, 71.9, right? To get my sell order from there. So looking at it from a 1-hour time frame perspective, I can see clearly that, okay, well, this is a good price is now retracing back to this particular zone, and this is where I will be expecting to look for selling opportunities. So bear in mind that I will not just enter impulsively. When price gets there, I want to see my confirmations, or maybe on a lower time frame shift of structure, and then to what sell to the downside, right? So, and I will be targeting this particular lows to the downside. You can see clearly we have a clear range for price to move here, right? Once you always have you have a clear range, it makes more sense, right? And this is a good risk reward of 1:4, right? So this is what I'm expecting on EURAUD. And the next pair I'll look at the GBPCAD, right? So GBPCAD. So this is the GBP Canadian dollar as well. Again, I'll start from the daily time frame. I'll start from the daily time frame. So looking at our daily time frame on GBPCAD, what can we see, right? This is a bit tricky if you don't understand market structure, right? We can see clearly that on GBPCAD, we've been in an uptrend, but we just shifted toward a downtrend, right? And now this is a pullback happening. So pay attention to what I'm about to explain here, right? So you can see clearly that what we had this low, let's just start from here, lower high, lower higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So you can always go to your line chart to see that we've taken out this high and created this new high here. So in that case, this becomes our new high, higher high, and our new low, because this is the low that was rated is high, right? Now we can see that price came the following week and the following day and broke out of here. So we have what change of character here, right? So now we shifted from a bullish move to a bearish move, right? Now shifting from now, this becomes our daily high, this becomes our daily low, right? So this is the move we have, which is bearish, right? So anything I'm seeing here is just price pulling back into the supply zone to look for what selling opportunities, right? Which is what I'm seeing, right? So if I have this move, what I've already seen, where there's a shift of structure here, right? I'm expecting price to just pull back here, and then I should be expecting price to tap into this zone. Then I'll look for sales, right? So now going to my 4 hours to look for my intraday setups. You can see clearly I've already marked out the zones on GBPCAD. So I'm expecting price now shifting up to all the way to this particular zone. So when price gets here, I want to see what shift of structure, maybe market start shifting on the lower time frame, like 15 minutes, then I'll get in forward for my sales, right? So you pay attention to when price gets this zone, I'm not going to enter impulsively. I'll wait for what a shift of structure from a lower time frame perspective, and then I get in forward sales, right? So this is what I'm looking for on GBP card. This, bearing in mind that what this is my daily high, this is my daily low, which is bearish. So I will not be looking for any buying opportunities. If price comes now, for me to get any buying opportunity on GBP card, I want to see price violating this daily high and then price being what breaking into the upside. So something like this, right? If price comes and close above here like this, then change to this structure. This is now when I will start looking for buying opportunities all the way to the upside. But for now, I'm not interested in any buys. Price gets here, I'll be looking rather for shorts to the downside. So that's my view on GBP card, and these are the pairs I'm really interested in trading this particular week. And most interestingly, I have 5 minutes left, so I'll look at gold. So this is gold, which is one of my most favorite pairs in trading. So let me just remove this for now, and I'll explain again. For those who are trading gold, if you're into Forex, you see that we also trade gold, which is a commodity, right? That's a metal. So you will not say you are a commodity trader. We just also classify it under the Forex trading as well, because you can also do the same analysis, move the same way, and so on. Right? So then we still call it Forex. We still call Forex traders, we still classify those who trade gold, we still call themselves Forex traders. Doesn't matter, even though it is not a currency, because Forex is basically currency trading. Now, looking at gold I want to give you a higher time frame perspective on gold first, right? Before we look at a lower time frame, because this is what will guide you, right? So looking at gold from a higher time frame, what can you see clearly on gold, right? From a higher time frame, you can see clearly that on this particular gold, we are bullish, right? We are still very bullish on the higher time frame on gold. Because this is realistically, this is a low we are having, this is our high we are having here, right? And we've not created any high or we've not taken out this low. Price has just been moving within the main structure, right? We started seeing price breaking below some of these minus lows internal structure we had here, expecting price to pull back, but we're seeing a deep movement again to the upside, right? Gold as well is mostly influenced by geopolitical tension, which is happening, right? So when you see geopolitical tension, people start investing their money into these metals as well, like that, right? So that's why you see gold as time will not correlate really, especially now, gold is not correlating with the US dollar that much. If you check the US dollar, which is bullish, you check gold, gold is bullish, which normally is not supposed to happen that way. That is why I said do not just take your correlation for the US dollar and you try to mesh it directly with any currency pair, do them independently and just have the understanding, right? Especially for gold. Now, when I analyze the XY, I don't even look at gold because they are doing the same thing, which is not supposed to be so, right? So, looking at gold from a forward time perspective, with that in mind. So, yeah, I'm expecting gold. Ideally, I don't want to trade gold now. That's why I moved to currency because this is my main instrument, right? So I see gold has come back into this range, right? So this is a range I've been avoiding gold for a long time. It's back into this range. Now, once you see a currency instrument in a range like this, it's very scary to trade it, because if you are not very good at looking at the lower time frame, like the 5 minutes, 1 minute, you'll just be losing money, right? To get entries, you scalper, because this is just for scalpers to be able to trade. A swing trader or maybe a day trader that holds trades for long will not be able to trade this type of moves. Now, looking at gold within this particular zone, what I'm expecting is clear, right? I've seen that price is trending to the upside. My ideally, what I want to see is that price should take out these highs, right? If price can take out this high above 66, above 26.67, I will take buys to 60 to all-time high 26.85. That's what I'm looking at on gold, right? Now there will be a probability that we will see price retrace from here, drop again to this 26.44, and that is where I will look for buy. So you see, this is me trying to get a setup in a range, right? So we can see clearly that price has just broken out of this zone. So what I'm saying is, you will see price come to something like this. This is ideally how I could get a buy, tap into this demand zone, and then get buys to the upside. So this is what I'm seeing on gold right now. And if I use my Fibonacci here, right, because overall gold is bullish, right? So if you gain room for buys, you're good. So if I put my Fibonacci, you see what I'm saying, right? Go tap into this zone here, right? And it's a good demand zone to see go actually coming to tap into, right? So kind of a breakout and a retest again, then we can continue the buys. If this does not happen, does not play out, then I want to see go break out of this zone. If that is not happening, then I'm out of gold, right? Because actually in a range, then we should see, it should give me a clear breakout to the downside before I'll be looking for those sales, right? So this is basically my view on gold right now. So not much to say. As you can see clearly, the price action is not price actioning, right? So yeah, this is what I'm expecting on gold. A breakout above 26.67 will be good for buys to the all-time high again, or creating a new possible high. Or we have price pull back into this zone, and then I get a scalp move to the upside. Price gets here, if I don't see the confirmations, I'm not going to get in, right? So these are the pairs I'm looking for this week, and the call will be ending in a minute. So I'm just going to post this on YouTube. You can on Telegram. I'm going to be updating how the moves are going to be going, right? So I think we have to end here for now. So thank you guys for joining. If you have any question, time might not permit for you to ask, so you can DM me a question, and then I'll be glad to ask. DM me on Telegram preferably. I'll be glad to answer for that. If you want me to look at any pair for you, you can also text